So now, how did you come across this notion of like um, the bridge to mastery? What could you tell us more about that?
Sure. So this is just a play on words. To be honest, my name itself means light. My middle name means freedom. My my last name means bridge, and palm, the palm tree, is the symbol of life everlasting or victorious life. So if you put all of those things together, it's the light, freedom, bridge to life
Oh,
everlasting or
okay.
paradise.
I got you.
So it's a play on words based on my name, the
Right,
bridge to
right.
self mastery.
It,
And the idea comes from the fact that I don't teach that I'm a guru in any way, shape, or form. That is not who I am. I'm not better than anyone. I am just like everyone. What I do is show people how to find their inner source of power so that they stop looking outside for what they need and then discover that everything that they need is in them, within them. That power is inside and leads them towards their glory. Because until we realize that this power is inside of us, we live in the sin of our unfulfilled desires. Sin meaning missing of the mark.
so you're saying that um, each individual has the ability to self-actualize. Is that what you mean by self-mastery? Is that
Yes,
what you mean?
yes, yes.
Okay, so if that's the
Our
case.
purpose in life being to recognize ourselves as the universe, because that's what the Bible's about, is
Right.
how to figure out who we
In
truly
other words,
are beyond our identity.
to be in harmony with the environment, to the big nature.
Yes,
So at the moment,
yes.
you would say that we're somewhat a little bit out of harmony.
You could say that, yes. Unknowingly so.
So now, you wanted to know what did you say that triggered my uh,
Yes, I'd love
question?
to know that.
Well, you see, you were talking about the different bodies,
Ah, yes.
and so I remember years ago I bought a book about I had the book about the seven bodies,
Yes.
but actually there are nine bodies,
Hmm.
right? And so
Hmm.
I had forgotten that. And when you
Yes.
said, "Oh yes, I remember," that's why I'm calling her today because she's talking about the nine bodies.
Yes.
And so could you go into that a little deeper about how that relates to self mastery and in the context of where we are today?
Well, you could say that we have so many different bodies that we're not aware of. You could say, if we limit our perception to this what is physical, it's only 1% of the picture. It's 1% because this is the last, I want to call it almost like food rearranged, because
Oh,
we are what we
well,
eat,
this is
or it's the densest part of our
right, right,
being.
right. It's the grossest energy.
Right.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's just energy that is dense, but it's like if we were to consider ourselves to be water, because we are mostly water. If we were to consider the elements of water, this would be our form as ice.
Yes, right, right. Frozen.
Right. Yes. And then when you start extending beyond that, you start talking about your invisible nature, that which we don't take into account. There's an emotional body, okay? There's a mental body, there's the overall soul, there's your light body. I'm not even getting into all the other layers, but just if you can just imagine how far you extend, just to the degree, if you can take this into account just for a minute, we do not see anything other than the neural representation of what we believe to be, and that part of our brain is located in the back of our head, okay, the visual cortex, this part
Right.
of you. So what we're seeing outside is made inside of our mind, and that is it. So we and only ourselves are responsible for that, but we're not taking into account the invisible side or the rest of our bodies half the time, um, especially when we're in a situation where we've forgotten that we are larger than our circumstances, that we are the creator
So
of our
now, if
circumstances.
that's the case, how does one cultivate the outer inner vision connection to see beyond the physical?
Well, that's one thing that many people dismiss. A lot of people feel, especially if we have a poverty mentality, that we must do something. We must work, 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 work. We must do something physical, right? But the fact remains that if we were to turn off our senses and simply replenish and go back into ourselves and turn off, literally, but you could call it meditate, right? Science actually shows that our whole brain lights up more in that moment than if we were playing basketball, for example, physically interacting, doing something. And so that in itself, right? So a lot of us don't realize what we are supposed to practice: conscious thought reflection, not just let these things unconsciously flow through about so that our world appears chaotic. And so one thing that helps us realize we're bigger than that is that going in your inner sanctum, you could say, closing the door and shutting off your senses so that you can actively participate in viewing your thoughts come and go.
So now, if that's the case, would you say there's a distinction between concentration and meditation?
Yes, in meditation, I would say it's focused concentration.
You got me. All right. Yes.
Right? It's developing a muscle because, unfortunately, the world has made us, creatures of instant gratification, distracted us a little bit, or maybe made us a little bit comfortable with having ADHD. And so it's coming back to retraining that mind.